This presentation will discuss how the copyright lesson meets the requirements of the Assure model. The lesson was designed for sixth grade students, typically around 11 or 12 years old. They are digital natives, very comfortable online, and using tools like Google Slides and YouTube. But most of these students have little understanding of copyright law. While the students can easily search and copy and paste their content, they often assume anything online is free to use. This shows a gap between their digital fluency and their understanding of legal and ethical guidelines. To address this, the lesson includes strong visual elements, simple definitions, and real examples of citations. For students with IEPs or 504 plans, pacing, simplified language, and printed supports will be provided. English language learner students will benefit from vocabulary clarification, and gifted students are encouraged to think critically about ownership and fair use. By analyzing learner needs in this way, the instruction is both inclusive and effective. It meets the students where they are and helps build a shared foundation for respecting copyright. The lesson has been designed with two key standards to emphasize ethical and legal information use. First, the AASL standard requires students to make ethical decisions in their work by acknowledging authorship and respecting intellectual property. Our lesson addresses this directly by teaching students what copyright protects and why giving credit matters. The ISTE standard covers responsible digital interactions. While the standard does use broad terms, this specific lesson narrows the focus to one essential piece of ethical digital use, which would be the copyright rules. By the end of the lesson, the students will be able to define copyright, recognize what works are protected, and identify when and how to give credit. The objective emphasizes action. Students will demonstrate understanding by evaluating use cases and citing sources properly. This not only builds their academic integrity, but it also will set expectations for their digital habits going forward. To effectively deliver this mini lesson on copyright, I selected instructional strategies that are clear, structured, and accessible for sixth grade learners. The core method of this lesson is direct instruction, being delivered through the teacher-led lecture using a visually engaging Google slide. This ensures that key content is communicated efficiently, especially since the topic on copyright rules can be abstract for our sixth grade students. Guided practice is built into the lesson through the use of real-life examples. After the lecture, students evaluate sample scenarios to determine whether content can be legally used. This application reinforces their understanding and will promote critical thinking. To check for understanding and promote reflection, we close the lesson with a Padlet exit ticket where the students share something they learned and a copyright tip they would give a friend. This is brief, but it is meaningful and will offer a formative check for me. The technology tools needed are the Promethean board to display the examples, the GimKit review game published to reinforce the terms and the rules, and all of these things will be organized on a Canvas module that will host the lessons and other resources. Students also will receive a handout of copyright do's and don'ts with citation samples. This will be helpful for our visual learners, the English language learners, and students who need more support. Each tool and strategy was selected to support clarity, to reinforce correct copyright practice, and respect students' diverse learning needs while keeping copyright the sole focus, not digital citizenship overall. All instructional tools, the Google Slides, the Padlet, the GimKit, the Canvas module, and the Promethean board were tested before the lesson to ensure smooth delivery and grade level appropriateness. Verify all links and transitions were functional and media supported the content. The presentation itself, the handouts, and the practice materials were prepared in advance and uploaded to a Canvas course. These included the clear citation examples and copyright guidelines. The classroom is arranged to ensure all students can see the Promethean display. Student devices are checked ahead of time. In the case that a student has a non-working device, the library does have many that students are able to borrow. This ensures equitable access for all the student learners. Students were prepped with key vocabulary and expectations so they could engage confidently with the content. The lesson will begin with a brief warm-up to frame the importance of copyright in schoolwork. Finally, the learning experience balanced direct instruction with opportunities for the students to engage through the guided examples, the interactive GimKit, and the personal reflection using the Padlet exit ticket. To ensure that students are actively and mentally engaged, students will participate in a structured lecture-style instruction supported with visuals and real-world examples. They will listen and observe, but they also mentally evaluate whether the specific uses of creative content follows the copyright law. After the presentation, students will complete a guided practice by analyzing scenarios and deciding if the use of a photo, song, or quote is legal. This reinforces understanding and builds decision-making skills. Next, the students would partake in the GimKit review game, which is focused on copyright, public domain, Creative Commons, and attribution. The GimKit interactive tool supports engagement, but it also provides a formative assessment. During these activities, I am able to provide immediate feedback, which will clarify misconceptions and reinforce correct reasoning. The formative support is critical in building my students' confidence before a formal evaluation is done. And last, the students would reflect on their learning with the exit ticket on Padlet. It will ask them to summarize what they learned, identify any questions they may still have, and it would help consolidate knowledge while providing me with data on their understanding. To evaluate the student learning, I would use a combination of traditional and authentic assessments. The Padlet exit ticket allows students to express what they learned and ask questions, but it also gives me insight into individual understanding, and it will highlight any areas that need to be reinforced. During the guided practice and the GimKit review game, I would be able to observe student responses and engagement levels. That real-time data helps me determine whether the instructional strategies and materials were effective and helping students grasp the key copyright concepts. I would also be able to compare the results of those informal assessments with the learning objectives that were set at the beginning of the lesson. If there's gaps between what students were expected to learn and what the students demonstrated, I would use that information to revise the lesson. Technology and media would also be reviewed. If a tool didn't function well or didn't enhance their engagement, I would note that for future reference. I would also collaborate with the reading teacher to reflect on which parts of the lesson worked best for her students and what would need to be adjusted in the future. This will help ensure that the instruction evolves to better meet our students' needs. And the presentation was also used with SlidesGo.